Alright, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. 6 months ago, I got a couple of small bald cypress just to kind of do some experimenting with. I think I've said before in my other videos about bald cypress that this was a species I was completely against at one point. And the more I kind of play around with them and everything, the more I find them very interesting. Got a quick growth rate, heal real quick, things like that. But even before I start on this one here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give you a quick update on the ones that I have, the bigger ones that I've already done videos on this year. I'm going to apologize ahead of time for the camera shaking a little bit. I'm not very good with outdoor photography at all. But start with the big one here in the tub. And in all these shots, the first shot is like about a week ago. I was going to do this video then, and just things got in the way, and I kind of had to put it off a little bit. And then some of them are actually from this morning. I did do a little branch selection and moved a couple of them around a little bit and everything. And then, you know, here would be the one in the smaller pot. I also did not move that one for a better picture at all, just simply because, I don't know, they're kind of heavy and I could just kind of get it where it was there and everything. Very, very few branches come off that one. It's not growing as quick as the one in the tub. Obviously, the one in the tub has a lot more room to move around with the roots. And then the very large one that I got, and here it's still sitting in where I had it in the full sun, and you can see that all the foliage is really kind of graying almost, just too much sun, and I kind of had a good idea that was happening. And then you can see in this, the last little bit here, the foliage getting a little bit greener. I did put it next to a palm tree that I actually exchanged it with where the jacaranda was sitting. Palm tree's kind of creating more shade than I had even originally intended. And so I have it sitting there now, and I think it's doing much better. I didn't do any branch selection on that one just simply because it's not growing quite as vigorously as the other ones, and also I need to try to heal the big scar there, which if you go into the Bald Cypress playlist, you can see what I'm talking about with that one. These here, I got two of these. I'm gonna start with the most interesting one. Basically, they were on clearance. They were bald. I mean, they are one of the only deciduous trees. I say only deciduous trees. One of the very few deciduous trees in Florida where, in January there was no leaves on them, so, they put them up for half price. And I picked it up and I even chunk chopped it even before I even got it home. I just chopped it down to nothing just so I could put it on my truck easier. They were like a good 6, 7, 8 feet tall. I just chopped it down so I could put it in the back of the truck. This one, I went ahead and what I did was I did a trunk split on it. Let's see, you are looking, the split is right here. I'm going to clean it up and you guys will be able to see a little bit more in a minute, but the split is facing you there, or it's right in the middle. And then just to look at the other side before I really get started doing too much more. The vision I have for it is I'm going to have 2 leaders, one on each side of the split. I'm going to let the leaders stay strong so they can heal where the split is. And then as the middle portion heals up, I'm hoping it heals up a little bit towards the nabari or the stump, which is just out of view here. I have mostly the foliage inside. It's really hard to get this all in one picture, but it is just a black nursery container, so nothing interesting down there to see anyhow. And I just have the top barely out of sight here. I'm gonna go a little bit further away. But as the years go by, I want to try to split it further. Keep these leaders strong, keep it healed up, and then just try to keep splitting it further and just go with a split right at the base kind of a look. And then, just see what happens from there. I mean, it cost me like 14 bucks, so if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. They're a very resilient species. I'm sure one way or another I can save part of it and just kind of have a tree of some sort. Alright, and trying to give you guys a little bit of a better look. Have the apex just out of sight a bit, and the nursery bucket too. But what I do this with a lot of my trees, but with the bald cypress you can really see it the most. And that is, if I'm not getting wire on it right away, I mean, if I hadn't touched this tree at all of these branches would just, everything is just straight up, just like the apexes are basically. They even just come right off of the trunk and just go straight up the trunk. And what I do, and if you have one of these and you ever try it, you'll know what I'm talking about, and that you can actually even feel the wood breaking when you do this. But if you notice, this branch was sticking up a lot further than the other ones. And then if you kind of do this, you can hear, like, you can imagine hearing it. You guys can't hear it, but the cracking. And then notice when I let go of it how much lower it is than, you know, when I first started it was like that, and then just kind of do that a little bit. They never really stay completely in position, but as they grow out, they do now get heavier and start weighing themselves down rather than just riding the trunk up. And so I'm going to bend down a few of these, but actually here in a minute, I'm just kind of doing these just because they're right here in front of me. But I want to get down to just the 1 liter per side, and right now both sides kind of have 2. This one is obviously the stronger one on this side. Right now the split is actually not facing you guys, the split is actually right in the middle. But you're looking at the solid side of this side, and this one's obviously stronger. This one actually has a little secondary branch kind of coming out right underneath of it. So I'm going to try to take it out. And it's this secondary branch right here, top of the tree, or the top of the chop is actually like right here where my arm is right now. And so I'm just going to take the whole top part of that off. And that should open that up some, and see that other secondary branch coming off of it. And so that's this side with basically that leader, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then that branch there. There is another one. Another little branch here. It's actually coming out as on the leader, right where it kind of goes to the chop mark. I'm going to leave that one in place for now. This is the bigger branch that I was just trying to bend down some. And then on this other side, now that I look at it, this one is not that. You have, actually if I go ahead and just bring it all the way around there, the stronger one, and it is actually growing right out of the top of the chop, where this one is coming out below it. And I thought I tried to bend this down a few times and it just wouldn't because it was so strong there. I still might try to do that. I was thinking I was going to cut it off. When I did that branch selection on those bigger trees out there, some of what I did is after I bent down some of the bendable branches, it just kind of cut off some of the secondary branches that would either be straight up or straight down. Then just to open it up a little bit, since I do want these 2 apexes, I don't really want them growing into each other. So some of these branches that are going towards the other side, and into it, I'll leave the ones that aren't going into it. But I do want to take the ones that are kind of clashing with each other a little bit. Sometimes the difference is a lot more obvious when you're in person than I can see on the camera later. I think I'll leave it like that. Alright, so here is the split. Sometimes the screen is so small I'm unsure what's going to come off or not. And here is, I took part of the chop and stuck it in there when I split it just to hold it apart. I figure it's the same wood that the tree is. You can see a little bit of rolling over going on down here with as far as just healing the wound. And like I said, I get the idea that once they try to fuse all the way down to the base, it's going to try to suck itself back together. And I'm thinking like maybe once a year I'll split it a little bit further. Again, just kind of have to wait and see what happens. See if the other side. And then that is the other side there. Alright, and we are back to the other side here. You may have heard me kind of hesitate as I was speaking there. I noticed that I should go ahead and take the knob cutters and cut that off. That way it'll give the opportunity for the rollover to happen this way too. And, you know, having a little taper in there wouldn't matter any. I planned on leaving it alone just to, you know, again, let the leader go. But it wasn't using that side of it anyhow. There's where that other branch was. And then the other thing that just made me stop and think for a second is this branch right here is the one leader that I kind of bent down, and I noticed I've bent it down 2 or 3 times and it keeps coming right back up into place almost. I say other leader. It's not the leader. This is the leader. This was just the other highest branch. And since I should go ahead and take the knob cut of this too, that's going to be really close to that. I was kind of on the fence on whether or not it was going to stay anyway. So I think I'll take it out. And then I cut that one off just without the camera rolling. I figure I'll go ahead and leave it on for this one. And there we go. And again, now that rollover, kind of take that over there. Really is just an experiment, but alright, before I got the other one, I just figured I'd give you just a better look at the whole thing there, especially since I took that extra branch out that was here. There's where I hit it with the knob cutters and everything, so alright, and then there's this one. Wasn't much to it, but it's interesting. I almost did forget to get a picture of this when I first brought it home. So I didn't split this one. I just decided to just stick with the chop there I did at the store. Kind of amazing that it actually has a little less growth than the other one. I do think that these trees have such survival instincts. Maybe the other one just kind of, you know, because of that split in the trunk, just put out a ton of growth to try to basically heal itself. You'll see in a minute, once I kind of clean it up some, you'll see that it really doesn't have a leader coming out of the top of that chop at all. It's actually probably a good inch below it, but that would be, this one would be the higher one. And then almost every other branch on here is a bar branch. I do want to leave some lower branches, try to create a little more taper than just a, you know, a new leader shooting out of the top. Of course, over time I should be able to create some. I was going to mention also on that other video, if you just kind of look, it's still in the same size pot that the other one was in. Sometimes if this was a ficus, I definitely would cut the bucket off and just try to, you know, get a better look at what the nabari looks like and everything. But I don't have these sitting in water, but I do actually water them quite a bit more than I do my other trees. And when I have cut the tops off of buckets like this before, it does really affect the integrity of the pot. It makes it really hard to move around. And I'm still not even entirely sure I have these in a good spot in my yard yet. I mean, they're growing fine, but just as far as whether or not I have enough room to kind of continue to leave them there. I'm going to start, I have bent these branches down quite a bit, but then once I kind of decided I was going to make this video soon, I realized I was going to have to cut a few of them off. I probably should have kept doing it because now they've kind of got some straight up power going again here. I know this one's coming off. And then that kind of gives me a better chance to look. Got the leader. This one is the next highest branch. Not quite on the same level as the other ones. And then for this one is on about the same level as these two. I'm going to take one of them out, and I think I'm going to take the one that's closest to you guys there out. Actually, I'm going to take this one out. That should give a little bit of a better balance to the tree as far as the ones I'm leaving. And all of these I'm going to say that I'm leaving for now. Not necessarily permanently. And again, something else I meant to say, but another reason for leaving this lip on the bucket is so I can attach some guy wires to it. I'm going to try to keep these 3 branches. and with the guy wires that'll just keep them from springing up too much more like that other tree kept trying to do. There we go. And then that would be coming straight up off of that. These two would actually be bar branches on the branch, so just take one of them out. Here towards the end, I won't worry too much about that stuff. Only one coming straight down off this one. And this one I think looks alright. And then I guess I could kind of realize that a few of these are bar branches too. Alright, a little bit of an awkward angle here, but you can see that that leader, or the top branch, is a good inch below the chop scar there, or the chop mark. I'm going to try to see, it's almost too big for knob cutters. There's a little bud right there. Of course now, with these bigger branches down here, I don't know what any good little tiny buds like that will do, but let's see if I can't angle it a little bit better. I almost need to get in here with a handsaw, but I definitely don't have room to work. With that right now. I didn't angle it very much, but I did get right down to it there. And now that it's the only one that's part of the apical growth here, that really should take off. If not, perhaps I'll wind up chopping it like that, either early next spring or late this fall. And then I can get in there with the handsaw and do something with it. Alright, and of course, all of my bald cypress aren't anywhere near being finished of any sort, but usually they are either a long telephone pole with a flat top on top, or they really are kind of straight trees with like a informal upright look. I kind of keep that on mind on most of mine. That one at the beginning of the video that's in the that has the least amount of growth as far as the bigger ones go, probably leaning towards a flat top on that one eventually, but right now I'm just trying to keep them healthy for this year. But I do, even though I'm going to leave this straight and not try to wire it up and get any movement in it, I do kind of take and do my little bending there too. I've seen some suggestions that that helps with growth. And again, since I don't really want to get it any movement in it, I just kind of go till I can feel the popping. And then I can't wait to see what these guys do in the future. I'm hoping that since I got a smaller one here, going to work on the Nabari a little bit, say, easier than on the really, really big ones. The really big ones are just harder to manipulate. But we'll see what happens over the next couple years.